What's going on, guys? I am Switters. Welcome back to the channel, and we've got an update from Infinity Ward, and I will link this article down below, and I will also leave a link to how to pre-download the beta for Xbox and PC, which you can do right now if you've pre-ordered digitally on the Microsoft Store or through Steam or Battle.net. So you can check the description and click those links and either read this article along with me here, or if you haven't figured out how to pre-download the beta yet, the video will be linked down below showing you exactly how to do it. So let's just jump into this. So this is basically Infinity Ward saying, we've heard from you guys after the first weekend of the beta, and these are the things we are taking into account. Some things we might be changing, some things we're just going to continue to track, but let's just jump into it and see what they've got in store. Hello, Modern Warfare 2 players. It's been amazing to see so many of you hopping into the weekend one of our multiplayer beta on Sony platforms, and look forward to many more of you joining us this, for weekend 2 across all platforms. There's already been a fantastic amount of feedback on Reddit and social media, as well as a ton of stats collected on our side. In addition to the new maps and modes we have lined up for weekend 2, we also have some changes and new things we are trying that we'll be sharing with you this week. Throughout weekend 1, we played the game, watched the game being played, read your feedback, and talked to many of you. At a high level, leading into weekend 2, we fixed various crashes, addressed a few gameplay exploits. There were places where you could hop into walls and basically be not invincible, but you were invisible. You were literally inside the wall, kind of out of the map, but you could still kill people. So hopefully they fixed all of those, patched up some map geo and lighting issues. There was definitely an issue with when you call in one of the streaks, it leaves like a smoke kind of across the whole area that it detonated, like the bombs detonated in, and it was just kind of a weird, like if you were in it, you could just lay down and it was like the smoke was just completely above you. You could see fine. It was very weird. If you played it, you know what I'm talking about. Updated progression for some Gunsmith related bugs. Here are some things that we have heard from you on. Minimap dot rules. Currently, in the Modern Warfare 2 beta, we only show enemy player dots when a UAV is active. The design reason for this is that we don't want to punish players for firing their weapons. We also want players to actively search out the origin of a gunshot versus just traveling directly to where the dot is on the minimap. We continue to gather feedback on how the game is playing in regards to this topic. Well, I think this is a terrible idea. If you don't want to show up on the minimap when you fire your weapon, put on a silencer. It's as simple as that. It's been like that forever. I don't understand why they're changing it. I mean, I kind of do, but it just leads to more camping, and the people that say, well, just get good and don't camp, sorry, that doesn't work. It hasn't worked for the last 3 years. It's not going to work. Just saying get good, whatever that means. So I think this is a bad idea. I think if you want to not show up on your minimap when you fire your weapon, put a silencer on. I mean, everything in game is supposed to be a balance, right? So if you don't want to show up on the minimap, you put on a silencer. But it means your gun's not going to be quite as strong. You do a little bit less damage, but you're staying invisible on the minimap. That's a pretty good trade-off. And vice versa, if you don't want to have that weapon damage decrease, you don't put on a silencer, but when you do fire, you're going to show up on the minimap. Again, there's a give and take, and with this, it's just kind of all take. I don't like it, but whatever. It seems, and from the polls that I've put out, polls I've seen other people put out, the vast majority of players really want the traditional minimap back, with red dots showing up when you fire an unsilenced weapon. So hopefully they change it back. I don't know with Infinity Ward though. They don't always, I mean, they might listen, they just might not. Like, hey, we heard you, but we're just not going to do it. So we'll see. Anyhow, let's move on. Target tracking. We've seen feedback that it's hard to track some targets once you get into a firefight. We agree this is an issue, and we have changes incoming to reduce muzzle smoke opacity and to increase the visibility of the muzzle flash to help engage someone who is firing at you. These changes should help with tracking your opponents in combat. This is massive. I'm so happy that they're doing this. So basically what that means is, like when you were shooting your gun, one thing happens is you get a lot of weapon shake. So you're not really getting recoil, you're getting visual recoil, but you're still shooting straight. But it just makes it really hard to see. Plus, they added a whole bunch of smoke coming out of the end of the barrel of your gun, making it virtually impossible to track your target. They agree, so it's not just me saying this, and I've seen a lot of other people mention this as well, but Infinity Ward themselves are saying, yeah, that's an issue. So what they're going to do is tone down, according to this, what they're going to do is tone down the amount of smoke that comes out of the end of your barrel, if not remove it completely. And when you were being shot at from across the map, you were getting no muzzle flashes. there was smoke coming off the barrel, but there wasn't like flashes coming off, so you couldn't even tell where you were getting shot from. So it seems like they're going to add more of an effect onto the weapons being shot at you. You'll be able to see the weapon flash, like the fire basically coming out of the end of the gun when someone's shooting at you. So it'll be easier to figure out where you're being shot from. I think these are both excellent changes. I'm super happy about that. We're also investigating more ways to visually differentiate enemies and friendlies outside of the standard nameplates above heads on the opposing players. We will be trying a few changes in weekend 2. More on that later this week. So basically, as it is now, for those of you that haven't played, your teammates all have their names above their heads in blue. In the past, it was always your enemies had their names above their heads in red. That's the standard colors. You can change it into whatever, but I'm saying the standard colors. And in this game, there are no enemy nameplates whatsoever. So you basically were waiting. If you saw someone, you would just see that, oh, they don't have a name above their head. That's the enemy. So the real problem with this is, oftentimes, like if you had, let's say you're in a room, right? You're just facing an enemy dead on. But let's say your teammate is beyond that enemy in like another room. You could still see your teammate's nameplate. So it looks like it was above the enemy's head. And you would think, oh, that's my teammate. And then it turns out, no, it's not. You're just seeing the nameplate of your teammate in a whole other room. Could be 50 yards away, 50 feet away, whatever, past the enemy. So you think, oh, that's my teammate, no big deal. And next thing you know, you're dead. And you're like, oh, I guess that was an enemy. So for whatever reason, they don't want to put the nameplates above the enemy's head. Maybe they could put just like a red dot or something around them. I don't know. I'm curious to see what they'll do with this, but I definitely think it needs to be, they need to do something so we can tell like, oh, that's for sure an enemy. The user interface, we've seen the feedback around difficulty editing perk packages, managing loadouts, and accessing the armory. We have identified some UX issues as well as some bugs. These are things we won't be able to adjust in time for beta weekend 2, but they are top of mind ahead of launch. So it won't change for this coming weekend, but hopefully before launch it will. Perks, we've seen varied feedback on the perk package system. Some players love it, others feel it's unnecessary departure from the original system. We feel it's a nice shakeup to how perks work and to the general progression of a match. We've also balanced the ultimate perks to be more powerful as you earn them later in the match. We'll continue testing throughout beta weekend 2, including drastically accelerating the earn rate of these to see how players react. Our goal remains improving the flow of all perks ahead of launch. Dead silence is another hot topic, as many players have expressed that they would like to see it as a perk instead of a field upgrade. We believe it's important to game health that rushers are not able to move at high speeds without consequence. There's already massive consequences for moving at high speed. Sprint to fire time is horrendous. Footsteps are loud as hell. So yeah, I just disagree with this. Dead silence as a field upgrade creates a balance between freedom of movement and predictability of combat. I completely disagree with both of these sentiments here. I don't like the perk system at all. I've gone over it in how the video I put out about how the Gunsmith works and how perks work. So if you want to see my thoughts on that, you can go check out that video. I guess I'll link that down below as well, so you can check that out if you want to. Just click on that very easily. You don't have to go searching for it. Just look in the description down below and you can click on that. I think it's terrible. I would love to see it changed. It doesn't really make sense the way it's laid out at the moment, but fine. And again, there already is severe repercussions for being a rusher rather than just not having dead silence. I think this is just a terrible idea. I honestly don't understand, other than to make the game better for campers. Now, don't forget, this is Infinity Ward, who with Modern Warfare 2019 they literally said they were trying to make it easier for new players. They focused the game to be better for newer players. Call that noob friendly, call that camper friendly, whatever you like. You can scream at me down in the comments, but all of this means is camp your ass off. Good luck. Footsteps. Footstep audio in week 1 of the beta was very high, giving players long distance directional information about enemies. For weekend 2, we have some changes coming in. We're reducing the range of footstep audio for the various player movement states, jog, sprint, and tactical sprint. This will help soften the cost of moving around the map. The second change is that enemies and friendly footsteps are now distinct. Okay, that's really good. This should help players better understand what's going on as things move around on the battlefield. More details to follow. See, well, it's good that they're toning it down. We'll see how much they actually tone it down. There's a difference between just turning it down and just turning it down just a touch. So if it makes no difference, then what's the point? And yes, if you've not played the beta on PlayStation this past weekend, your teammate could be running like behind you to your left, and the footsteps sound exactly the same as an enemy's footsteps. So you would just kind of panic, turn around, look, oh, it's just my teammate. But then you've turned around and turn your back to where the enemies are coming from and can get you killed. So I'm glad that they're making it different. I don't know how it's going to be different. It'll just maybe be two separate audios. You know, like one is kind of like a click, click, click is your teammates, and like clack, clack, clack is the enemies. I don't know, something along those kinds of lines, but we'll see how that works out. But I'm glad that they're actually aware and changing something on that. So that's good. Slides. Sentiment around the removal of slide canceling remains positive. I'm glad it's gone. There is kind of a slide cancel variation that you can do, but it's way harder, and it's really not that great. It's not nearly as powerful as it was in the last couple of games. Well, since Modern Warfare 2019, from Vanguard and Modern Warfare 2019, slide canceling was huge, and it's, again, you can kind of do it a little bit in this game, but it's not nearly as good as it was in the past. We are aware of the workaround and are contemplating how to handle it for weekend 2 of the beta. Additionally, we have some other slide changes for launch, which will make this movement feel a bit more fluid and snappy. So at the same time, they're saying we're trying to, again, I was speaking of the little workaround, and they mentioned it as well. They're contemplating how to handle it, but now they're talking about making it feel more snappy. And I think the point should be that they don't make it too snappy. Otherwise, that's slide canceling, and then it'll be like it has been for Vanguard, again, and Modern Warfare 2019. And most people, again, seem like they don't want it. I mean, I don't want it just because I don't want to wear the hell out of my controller in 2 months and have to buy another $200 controller every couple of months to play the game. But we'll see what they do. Ultimately, all of this is going to come down to, they say they're going to change things, but we'll see how much they actually change it and what the changes actually feel like. So we'll see. Stay tuned to Infinity Ward channels for more details on the changes we will be implementing for beta ahead of weekend 2. Crossplay beta kicks off Thursday, September 22 at 10 a.m. Pacific time. That's for the pre-orders, by the way. And then Saturday is the open beta for everybody. That's the free open beta. And for PlayStation, you can play for even if you've not pre-ordered, you'll be able to play on Thursday the 22nd, and then throughout the weekend for the beta. But anyways, guys, you let me know what you think of these changes that they've mentioned here. I think some of them are great. I really with the minimap, just make it so a traditional minimap like it used to be. I just don't see the problem with it. And not only that, but it helps new players, like, oh, somebody's over there, so let's go in that direction and get into a gunfight, rather than they have no idea what's going on. All they're hearing is footsteps, and they're just kind of like freaked out and camping and not moving. I don't know. Anyhow, all right, that's it, guys, for me. Let me know what you think, and I'll catch you in the next one.